All right, thanks for logging in and looking at the recording for lesson 43 for Thursday and Friday of the week of February the 22nd. Today we're going to be looking at specifically your ILP completion, which we worked on the 11th and the 16th in class. If you weren't there for either of those days, then this is just kind of a catch-all day to get you through that ILP and make sure that you're ready to move on to the 11th grade or ready to move on past graduation. So we'll be completing that ILP today if you haven't already. For the literature, I'm going to take 5 quick minutes to remind you of where to go for the things they carried reading number 2. That's an extra credit assignment that you can complete for this class and some prep for the ACT. And then we're going to have some workspace at the end of class to work on your outlines or your rough drafts if you need some assistance with those. We can work on yours specifically, or we can work on them as a group. That's fine too. Our upcoming assignments are voice and choice number 3, which is due on the 26th. Our essay number 3 rough draft, which will be due next Friday on the 5th. And all the stuff on the left are old assignments that have been passed due, including the ILP that we're going to go through today. We did work on that on the 16th and the 11th of February, like I said. But if you missed those days, then here's another chance to work through it together and work through and complete that so that you're ready to move on to the next step. Here's our learning targets for today. That QR code, again, will take you to the living syllabus for this class. For writing, we're going to be completing our ILPs. We're going to be following the example provided by Dr. Taylor. This means that you can complete a graduation required assignment and begin to plan your path after high school. For literature, we're going to prepare for the reading ACT test while reading the things they carried. This means we can apply some appropriate grade level skills to ACT aligned questions in that reading. And for our informational lesson today, during that workspace, we're going to combine our work on the essay number 3 outline with the formatting expectations on the essay 3 rough draft assignment. So this means we can produce a rough draft that follows a clear structure and retains a focus on a primary claim. Real quick, look at our week structure. Monday, Tuesday recording lesson and a Thursday, Friday recording lesson. On Wednesdays, my office hours are from 12 to 2:30 p.m. And there's also an ELA recovery period from 10 to 10:45 a.m. if you can't make the afternoon meeting. The voice and choice assignment number 3 is due on the 26th this week on Friday. The voice prompt for that was, what is poetry to you? Or write and share your own poem, or read a poem that you like and lyrics from a song that you like. And that was the voice prompt for the first half of that assignment. And the choice prompt from the second half of that assignment was you choose one of these paths, one of these highlighted paths, and answer one prompt for the path of your choice. So choose one of the highlighted paths and answer one prompt in the second half of that voice and choice assignment. And that is due at the end of this week on the 26th. Moving on, we're going to go through the ILP real quick. If you missed the live version, I'm going to also be posting this recorded version. So to complete your ILP, you need to go to the ILP Google Classroom that you have been enrolled in. The only assignment in that class is your ILP. That assignment is this document that we'll be working through. Make sure that as you complete it, you're hitting submit so that Dr. Taylor can see that you've done it and so that I can see that you've done it too and get you credit. All right, let's start with part A. Go ahead and put your name where it says name, and the school should be the Academy at Shawnee. For part A, you're going to be choosing one or more of the websites that are hyperlinked there in blue to take an interest assessment to help you explore careers and post-secondary options. These are all short quizzes that kind of help you get an idea of what you want to do next. If you already know what you want to do next, you do not need to use those websites, and you can just type in what careers are interesting to you in the boxes provided. You can have more than one. Moving on to part B. So for part B, you're going to consider the options for continuing your education after high school. So your personal career goals might require you to get some education after school. For example, if you're interested in going into cosmetology or running a barbershop, you'll need to go to cosmetology school. If you're interested in being a teacher, you'll need that 4-year college. And if you're interested in going into the military, you'll need to be taking the ASVAB test, the ASVAB test, to place yourself within the military before joining it. Those are a couple examples. If you're in the live class, you can get assistance on this. If you're not in the live class, you can drop a comment on your ILP assignment to get help from either Dr. Taylor or myself. Moving on to part C. So in this chart, you're going to reflect on how you've met these different requirements. So each requirement has a link before the last one that can kind of help you get an idea too. So in what ways have you learned about interviewing? That can be formally from class, that could be informally from parents or a friend or a guardian. For resumes, if you do not have a resume, you can put I do not have a resume but plan to work on building one. You can also build a resume using that link and then drop it there if you know that you will need a resume soon. For applications, if you have already applied at or are currently working at a job, you can put how you applied to that job under application procedures. And for demonstrating skills and work habits that will lead to success in your future, you can use your backpack defense items that you have already chosen, or you can use examples of yourself persevering in classes that were difficult, or overcoming obstacles, or working in groups, or communicating well. Any example of job success skills that you can think of from your high school career that would be appropriate to put there. Moving on to part D. So these are 4 different things that you need to explore. Open each one of them, take a look at them, and then place an X in the box. For the KHEAA account, you will need to take some time to set that account up, so set aside about 20 minutes to set up that account. It will be easier to do the KHEAA account if you're with a parent, especially if you don't know your social security number, because you'll need to share your social security number with KHEAA to access that account. Now, sharing your social security number can be spooky. In this case, that account is a government account, and you're working with the Kentucky Department of Education there. So that's why they're asking you for your social security number. They're just verifying that you are you. Moving on to part E. So for part E, you're going to be listing all the classes for your current grade and verifying your previous year. So what you need to do is go through Infinite Campus and access all of the credits that you've already received. This is more easily done with a teacher, a counselor, or a parent who's familiar with navigating Infinite Campus. But if you're comfortable navigating Infinite Campus on your own, you should be able to log into Infinite Campus by Googling JCPS, going to Students, going to Logins, and selecting Student Portal. There you should be able to find the credits that you have currently earned. Moving on to part F, you're going to record your extracurricular and co-curricular opportunities. Make sure to include any that are aligned to the job that you want or the college that you're interested in attending. For part G, even if you're not a freshman, you can put in what your goals were if you can remember them from back then, especially if they've changed. If this is blank, because if you are a freshman, start at the freshman goal setting page. If you are a sophomore, work on the sophomore goal setting page. If you are a junior, you need to update your junior goal setting page with short-term educational goals, long-term career goals, steps to reach the short-term educational goal, and steps to reach the long-term career goal. If you're having a hard time breaking your goals into smaller steps, talk to a teacher or to a parent or guardian, and they may be able to give you assistance on breaking a big goal into smaller goal steps. The final part G for senior goal setting is a graduation requirement. So it's very important if you are a senior and you're completing your ILP to take your time and break down your short-term educational goals of graduating from high school into attainable mini goals or steps. Same thing goes for your long-term career goal. Breaking that down into some steps like college, going into a trade or some internships that you might need to do before you can get a position somewhere. Those are steps between where you're at now and where you want to be in your career. For part H, You'll just need to complete a short completion survey that lets your counselor know that you're done and gives some feedback on the whole process. All right, so that's a walkthrough of the ILP. We're going to move on to our literature lesson next. So for our literature lesson today, we're going to use The Things They Carried to prepare for the ACT test while reading The Things They Carried. It's a great book. I hope you dig it. This second one is actually going to be read to you by the main actor from Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston, because I have that audiobook. So we're going to be going through that audiobook, but we're still going to be doing the same thing where we answer the questions that are aligned to the ACT as you read through. This will be due mid-April. It's also going to be worth 50 points for extra credit, so it's a nice big beefy extra credit assignment to take some time, read a good book, and do some practice ACT questions. I am going to give you the answers to those ACT questions as I go through. So if you listen to the recording with Bryan Cranston, I'm going to pause him and give you answers to those ACT questions as you go. So that's good. It's good practice for getting an idea of how to be thinking about those questions when you see them on the reading portion of the ACT. And also a little bit of good practice for stamina when it comes to reading a longer passage for the ACT. So this is the second of 4 extra credit readings we're going to have for The Things They Carried. I'm going to roll out the other 2 before we go back in April, just so that you kind of have those that you can be working on if you want to do some prep and you want to read a good book. You're going to be responding to the questions the same way you did for the first one by highlighting the bold words next to the question and then adding a comment. So to do that, you can highlight it and the comment button will pop up, the little blue plus sign will pop up, or you can hold down the Control, the Alt, and press the M key. Again, that's Control, Alt, M. Control, Alt, M to make a comment after you've highlighted something. It's Control, Alt, M. So this is what it's going to look like. This is what it looked like on the first one. These are some answers from the first one. Just highlight the bold sections and then add your comments. All right, that is our literature lesson for today. It's quick because that is not a quick reading. It is a 70-minute reading if you read with Bryan Cranston. He does a great job of reading the text. But you don't have to listen to that if you want to just read it on your own and go through and answer those questions on your own. For the last portion of the class today, we're going to have a workspace on Thursday and Friday for people to complete their outlines or their voice and choice number 3 or their work on their rough drafts, which are going to be due next Friday on the 5th. So there's some space to work together, to work on your own, to get some assistance if you need assistance. If you haven't done those reading assignments are super quick and a very quick way to bump your grade up if your grade isn't where you want it to be right now. And I will be putting in the outline grades in Infinite Campus this weekend. So if you haven't done that outline yet, you still got a couple days to get that done. I would highly suggest getting that done before this weekend because that's when they'll update on Infinite Campus. All right, at this point, we'll be doing some workspace in class. You can get assistance on your outline, on your rough draft. I can help you on your ILPs if you haven't done that either. That'll also be in grade in Infinite Campus for this class as well for progress. Current and past assignments. At this point, we've hit the learning targets that we set out to hit. And here is the old assignments, upcoming assignments, and our calendar. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.